Hello and welcome back to another deep dive. I'm your host, Jules Mercer.
And I'm Devon Pierce.
Every week, we peel back the layers of film, whether it's, a massive feature or maybe an intimate short. And today, we're going small but mighty.
Very small, yeah. And definitely haunting. We're diving into Alone Fragments of a Lost World.
Okay, let's really unpack this one. You've brought us the script, the production notes, some really good insights on Alone Fragments of a Lost World. It's a, truly singular short film. And like you said, it aims to be both small but mighty and very haunting. Our source material, just so everyone knows, includes the Revision 1 enhancements to narrative script from 2023.
Right, and some production notes, too, which outline the journey of getting it made.
Which we'll get into later, because that sounds like a story in itself.
It really is. But what's fascinating right off the bat is how the source material, the script mainly, invites us into this incredibly rich, really evocative narrative.
And with such minimal elements, right?
Exactly. So our mission, our deep dive today, is to sort of extract the most important insights from these fragments. We want to explore how the film pulls off such profound emotional impact.
Yeah, dig into the cinematic techniques it's using.
Masterfully, I'd say. And yeah, even pull back the curtain a bit on the real-world struggles behind making it.
It sounds like a study in, how much you can convey with so little and the resilience it takes.
That's a great way to put it. Resilience is definitely a key theme, both on screen and off.
So let's start with the journey itself, the basic premise. This film, it's by Freddie Streeter's story and screenplay, and produced by Gottnex Media, collaborating with Playtime Studio.
Right.
And it has that interesting disclaimer right up front, based on fictional events, and it's noted as Revision 1 enhancements to narrative from 2023.
Which suggests maybe an evolution in the story itself.
Could be. So at its core, Alone centers on Cassandra Roberts. She's 40, lone survivor, and she's navigating these desolate ruins of, a collapsed civilization.
And her journey, it's perilous, obviously, physically traversing this shattered world.
But it's more than that, isn't it? It's also this profound quest to piece together fragmented memories. Memories of a life, a family, a whole world she lost.
It's deeply personal, an intimate story set against this, huge, epic backdrop of destruction.
And the script, it immediately throws you into this stark contrast. The world before versus the world now.
Heartbreakingly so. We get these vivid flashbacks of Cassandra's happy family life, and they're not just vague memories, they're really specific warm moments.
With her husband Jason and daughter River area.
Yeah, like that playful banter over a war-torn rag doll. That detail alone says so much.
Or sharing ice cream, cheering at a triathlon. These really normal, golden, sun-drenched snapshots.
And they profoundly punctuate the stark reality of her present, which is so desolate. They're a constant, aching reminder of what's gone.
It makes the now feel even more barren, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because you've just seen this warmth.
Absolutely. And the specificity, like that war-torn rag doll, it hints at childhood play, innocence. It grounds the abstract idea of loss in something deeply personal, totally relatable.
It's those tiny domestic details that make the past feel so alive. Like Jason calling River a monster playfully.
Or River's roar hits you the monster once while playing.
Just normal family stuff.
Yeah.
Or the ice cream shop scene, River giggling, asking about rescuing Daddy for dinner.
These are like perfect little time capsules of joy and connection. They really highlight the immense chasm between then and now.
Including those specific, almost mundane, happy moments. It just makes the catastrophe feel even more tragic.
It does. Because we, the audience, we get a brief taste of that normalcy Cassandra lost.
And then, bang, that idyllic world is just shattered.
Fundamentally shattered, yeah. The script describes a blinding light erupts.
And an eerie, high-pitched, shuddering sound intensifies.
And that plunges us right into the catastrophe. The day the world died, it's not a slow burn decay.
No, it's abrupt, violent, almost surgical, the shift from normalcy to desolation.
Suddenly, she's left wandering this landscape of overgrown streets, dilapidated vehicles, scattered debris. It's everywhere.
And that immediate, visceral rupture is so crucial to the film's emotional core, isn't it? It creates this deep sense of irreparable loss right from the start.
It really does. It denies you, the viewer, the comfort of a gradual decline. You're forced into the abrupt, disorienting reality she's experiencing.
It's quite an insight into how quickly normalcy can just vanish.
Yeah.
And how a filmmaker can show that seismic shift with just a few stark visual and auditory cues.
Exactly. And in her present reality now, Cassandra, she's a picture of vigilance, but also just immense weariness. You can feel it.
The script calls her Agile, athletic, equipped with sturdy boots, rugged gloves, and importantly, a bow.
Right, the bow, survival gear.
And she moves with military precision through these abandoned towns, these buildings. Every action is deliberate, cautious.
Her immediate goal, the practical one, is reaching this rumored North Bridge safe zone.
Which represents a tangible hope, right, amidst all the chaos.
It's not just a physical destination. It feels symbolic, too. The possibility of security, maybe an end to her relentless solitude.
Her whole physical presence tells a story of adaptation, this grim determination.
But her journey, it goes way beyond just navigating a physical wasteland. It's intensely internal, driven by these fragments she encounters.
Like that device she finds, the alien in origin one.
Yeah, in the abandoned grocery store with
Yeah.
the softly glowing patterns. And it's not just a random plot device, like you said.
No, it triggers a flashback, a quick insert, the script calls it.
Of River, her daughter, interacting with something similar. These fragments, these sensory triggers, they're key to her internal odyssey.
Forcing her to confront her memories, piece together not just what happened around her, but what happened within her.
Exactly. The objects she finds aren't just props. They're anchors to a lost reality. They're catalysts for her subconscious, working through the trauma.
So the film is really inviting us to understand that survival isn't just physical endurance.
No, it's also this arduous process of psychological reconstruction, rebuilding yourself from the fragments.
And as the story goes on, we start to see these little glimmers of potential connection.
Right, amidst all the desolation. She meets Tara and Joseph later on.
There's that scene in the forest clearing. Joseph asks her, did you lose someone too?
Such a simple, poignant question, but it hints at new alliances, the shared human experience of loss in this devastated world.
It introduces the possibility of a different kind of survival, one that isn't totally solitary.
It suggests that even in utter desolation, that human need for connection just persists. It has to.
That question, it just opens up this whole world of shared grief, potential empathy. It's a subtle but really powerful shift in her isolating journey.
But the film never lets you get comfortable, does it? The
Yeah.
tension is constantly escalating.
No, that high-pitched shuddering sound comes back, ominously, louder.
And these strange metallic devices start descending from the sky, which is terrifying.
It all culminates in that old military outpost scene, which the script sets up as a massive cliffhanger.
Masterfully designed, yeah. There's that desperate call, open up, please, there are children.
While Cassandra's fighting, shooting arrows, watching her own flickering device,
And then it ends with a smash to black, that sudden abrupt cut.
followed by her determined face, looking at the map, focusing on the North Bridge safe zone.
It leaves you with this powerful sense of unresolved tension, a sharp cliffhanger, yeah, and this deep focus on her unwavering purpose. It doesn't offer resolution.
No, it just reinforces her relentless drive for that perceived safety, whatever that bridge represents.
Mhm.
So, okay, one of the most compelling things about Alone, for me anyway, is how it conveys such profound isolation, such loss, with almost no spoken words.
It's just incredible, isn't it?
The script mostly relies on visual cues, her actions, maybe some sparse internal thoughts or overheard fragments. It's a real masterclass in minimalism.
It really is.
Mm.
How does a film achieve that kind of emotional weight in near silence?
That's the question.
Well, it's a very deliberate choice, obviously, to minimize human voices. It allows the silence of this desolate world to almost become a character in itself.
Like you hear more because there's less being said.
Kind of, yeah. Think about the script examples. Cassandra's internal monologue like, they found this place too.
Or that heartbreaking internal cry, "Mommy, save her." Clearly a memory echoing her trauma.
Right. Or her thought about the safe zone. We safer place near the North Bridge. We can't stay here. These are brief, almost whispered thoughts, not conversations.
Makes them feel incredibly intimate, raw.
And even the few lines spoken in flashbacks, like Jason's playful, okay, monster, River's laughter, they're so brief, so charged with emotion.
Their presence in the past makes their absence now just deafening.
Exactly. It heightens the loneliness, emphasizes the profound quiet of her current existence. The insight here is that absence, when it's intentionally crafted like this, can speak louder than presence. Silence becomes a compelling character.
It really pulls you into her solitary existence, doesn't it? That lack of outward conversation forces you into her singular perspective.
You experience her loneliness, her internal struggle much more directly.
And it builds this deeper empathetic connection, I think. because you're almost invited to fill the silence with your own reflections on what she's endured.
Yeah, what it truly means to be alone in such a vast, empty world.
You're not just watching, you're kind of feeling her solitude. You become this silent companion on her internal journey.
It transforms passive viewing into this active emotional engagement. You become an accomplice in her internal journey, where the unspoken is the most potent form of communication.
And this kind of cinematic restraint, it forces a deeper, more personal interpretation from the viewer. It moves beyond simple exposition to this intuitive understanding of her state.
Precisely.
So, building on that minimalism, let's talk about the visual language, because it's incredible. The script uses the environment to speak volumes.
The landscape itself is basically a character.
Totally. You get descriptions of a deserted road, derelict vehicles, overgrown streets, even that empty, vandalized ice cream shop.
Oh, yeah.
These aren't just static backdrops. They're active elements conveying the scale of the loss, the emptiness Cassandra inhabits.
They tell a story of what was and what is no longer. It lets you fill in the apocalyptic narrative without needing someone to spell it out.
And it acts as a mirror, like you were saying earlier, to her internal landscape.
Exactly. The sheer emptiness of the spaces she moves through mirrors the emptiness left by her loss.
While those recurring flashes of beauty in her memory remind us what was at stake, what's been irrevocably altered.
And the script details how the framing and composition would constantly draw your eye to absence, to decay, like when she's shown in a closer angle.
It emphasizes her vigilance, isolates her, creates intimacy, but also highlights her smallness against this vast, ruined world.
Then you get moments like the slow-mo close her on the iPad. That forces us to slow down with her, right?
Yeah, it heightens the emotional stakes of that reflection, distorts time to emphasize the weight of the memory.
Or even a bird's-eye view of an abandoned dam. That conveys the immense scale of the desolation and how utterly alone she is within it.
And maybe most powerfully, those moments described as close-up Cassandra's face, highlighting her shifting emotions, fear, determination, resolve, communicating volumes without a single word.
These aren't just camera directions in the script, they're narrative tools. They're guiding the audience's emotional experience, moment by moment.
It's fascinating how the script leans so heavily into silence and stillness, too. How does that work? To create tension, create emotion, keep you hooked when the narrative is so minimal?
Well, it does raise that question. In an age where everything is so fast-paced, so much stimulation, what power does a film get from withholding?
Right.
The script establishes this very deliberate, often quiet pace, a palpable rhythm of desolation, you could call it.
You see notes like Cassandra pauses cautiously.
Or stark silence envelops the overgrown streets. Even the description of dawn breaking, casting long, eerie shadows, contributes to this unhurried, almost meditative movement.
It pulls you into her world, makes you acutely aware of every tiny shift, every creak, every breath she takes.
It's a slow burn, definitely. It builds this almost oppressive atmosphere where the stillness itself becomes a source of tension. You're waiting for something to break it.
Which makes the sudden ruptures in that stillness so much more impactful. Almost like a jump scare, but deeper.
Exactly, like the initial blinding light and that high-pitched shuddering sound signifying the catastrophe. It just tears through the established quiet.
Or later, those script notes like suddenly, or suddenly rustling from nearby bushes breaks the oppressive silence.
They aren't just cheap scares. They feel like violent, jarring intrusions into the calm, immediately escalating the threat.
It forces you to experience that sudden, brutal shift from quiet observation to acute danger right alongside her.
And the contrast between the long stretches of quiet and these abrupt assaults on the senses is incredibly effective. It maintains this heightened state of tension throughout.
So the film strategically uses these periods of quiet observation, these implied extended shots from the slow pacing,
to build profound emotional resonance. It's not just about what happens, but the anticipation, the lingering feeling it evokes.
These long, quiet moments let the audience really sit with her emotions, her vigilance, her grief, her resilience.
Makes her internal state palpable without needing clumsy exposition. The stillness forces you, the viewer, to observe, to interpret every subtle action and reaction.
Draws you deeper into her experience.
It's a masterclass in cinematic patience, really, trusting the audience to connect the dots and feel the weight of her solitude.
Okay, so what about the sound? We've touched on the silence, but it's almost more about what you don't hear, isn't it?
Yeah.
How does the soundscape or its absence add to that haunting atmosphere?
Well, it's fascinating because the sound design in many moments is the narrative, the huge impact of just Not hearing human voices creates this vacuum.
which gets filled with other things.
Specific, often unsettling environmental cues, yeah. Think about the pre-collapse sounds from the flashbacks first.
The fading voice of River.
The laughter echoes warmly from that rag doll scene.
The cheering sounds from the triathlon.
Even the mundane local news playing on the iPad. These fleeting, joyous sounds offer such a heartbreaking contrast to the present.
They amplify the sense of loss, make the silence that follows even more profound.
They're like auditory ghosts of a world that's just gone. Makes those everyday sounds feel almost sacred, doesn't it? Because they're lost.
Totally. You realize their significance only when they're absent.
And then you have the post-collapse sounds, which are mostly signals of threat and distress, that omnipresent, high-pitched, shuddering sound.
Described as deafening and incapacitating.
It signifies immediate danger, sure, but also maybe psychological distress, given Cassandra's physical reactions.
Like her ears focusing on breathing, slamming her back against the wall.
Yeah, that blurring of external and internal threat is incredibly powerful. Then there's the static, the distorted reporters' and survivors' voices from the radio.
Fragmented echoes of a world struggling to even comprehend its own end.
Even the rhythmically blinking and distant high-pitched fluttering of that alien device. It takes on this unsettling, almost living quality.
Creates a sense of this pervasive alien presence, even when you don't see anything.
So it's not just silence, it's a very specific kind of silence, punctuated by very specific, often terrifying sounds that tell their own story.
And you mentioned the environmental cues, too.
Right. Don't forget the subtle things that root you in the physical world. The quiet rustling in the woods, the creak of an old door, the crunch of gravel under her boots.
These aren't just background noise, they're narrative devices. They immerse you in the tangible reality of the ruins.
So the stark contrast between the joy sounds of the past and the haunting silence or menacing sounds of the present, it creates this powerful auditory representation of the lost world.
Shaping our perception of both the external danger and her internal struggle with trauma.
The sound becomes a character in itself, constantly reminding us of unseen threats, profound emptiness. It creates this immersive, almost suffocating atmosphere.
So putting it all together, what does this mean for Alone Fragments of a Lost World? Is it a literal survival horror story? Is it a deeper metaphor for grief and memory? Or is it maybe both?
I think it's definitely designed to operate on both levels simultaneously, and that's really where its brilliance and its lingering power comes from.
Okay.
On the surface, yeah, it clearly presents literal survival elements. It puts it firmly in that post-apocalyptic genre.
Cassandra's pragmatic action scavenging, the military precision, the quest for the North Bridge safe zone.
Exactly. That all speaks to a direct physical struggle for existence. The script is full of concrete external threats, that alien devices, implied dangers in the ruins.
Her seeking alliances with Tara and Joseph.
Right. That narrative strand firmly positions her in a very real life-or-death battle for survival in this harsh, unforgiving world.
But the title itself, Fragments of a Lost World, that strongly suggests something internal too, right? A shattered internal landscape of memories, not just a destroyed external one. The way flashbacks are triggered by senses, by objects like the rag doll, the ice cream shop, the photos, they feel like emotional anchors.
Anchors to a past that both haunts her and drives her forward.
It's like her mind is trying to reconstruct itself piece by piece, just as she's navigating the physical fragments of the world around her.
That's a great way to put it. The journey isn't just about finding safety. It's about reassembling her identity, her purpose, from the debris of what was.
And we can deepen that analysis, too, thinking about that high-pitched shuddering sound again.
You think it's not just an external threat?
Well, given her visceral, physical reactions, focusing on breathing, slamming against the wall, couldn't it also be interpreted as a manifestation of psychological trauma?
Like anxiety or a panic attack.
Yeah, it blurs that line between external danger and internal suffering, making the threat multi-layered, much more complex.
That makes sense. And crucially, Joseph's question, did you lose someone too? That explicitly brings in the theme of personal loss, shared grief. It universalizes her experience.
And her hopeful but poignant reply, do you think we'll ever find others? It underscores that search for connection, even after everything.
And the war-torn ragdoll, in that light. It could be a symbol of lost innocence, a broken past, maybe even her own fragmented self she's trying to hold on to.
A reminder that even amidst literal ruins, The battle for internal wholeness is still raging.
So the film's true brilliance lies in its ability to operate on both these levels at the same time.
The physical struggle becomes this powerful externalization of an internal fight against despair, against loss.
And the complex process of reconstructing your identity after something profound happens.
The lost world is both the destroyed environment and the shattered personal past she carries.
It's a literal and metaphorical journey, completely intertwined. You can't fully understand one without the other.
It elevates it beyond just a simple genre piece to something much more universal about the human condition.
Exactly. It challenges you to consider both interpretations, knowing one deeply informs the other, that the internal world is just as much a battleground.
It asks us to confront our own fragilities, our strengths, when faced with things we can't change.
Mm-hmm.
Now, shifting gears a bit, you also sent over some fascinating insights about the film's actual production.
Ah, yes.
And it sounds like Bringing Alone to Life was its own kind of deep dive into resilience, overcoming obstacles.
It really does. It's striking how the real-world struggles of making the film eerily mirror the themes within the story itself.
So they started filming in 2024.
Yeah, and almost immediately hit significant hurdles. It shows how even the best plans can fall victim to unexpected, catastrophes in their own way.
The first snag was scheduling.
Right. 2 actors had scheduling conflicts on the very first day of shooting. Imagine the immediate disruption, the stress, scrambling before you've even really started.
That's a truly rough start, a major setback right out of the gate. And things didn't necessarily get smoother.
No, it didn't get easier.
Yeah.
During the second weekend of filming, another actor just dropped out. No notification, no reason given.
Wow, just vanished.
Pretty much. Imagine that kind of unexpected abandonment right in the middle of production, especially for an indie film where every single person is crucial.
It's like a mini apocalypse for the film crew,
Yeah.
right? A sudden void you have to somehow fill, much like the emptiness Cassandra navigates.
It really speaks to the fragility of independent filmmaking sometimes.
So how did Freddie Streeter, the writer and director, how did he respond to all this? It sounds like it could have easily just derailed the whole project.
Well, he responded with a really remarkable creative adaptation and dedication, kind of embodying a resilience that parallels Cassandra's own in a way.
What did he do?
He went back and cleaned up the script a bit more, which highlights that absolute necessity for flexibility, for problem solving in filmmaking.
Especially indie productions where resources are tight, everyone counts.
Exactly. This isn't just about fixing, it's about refining, re-strategizing, maybe finding a new path forward that might even end up strengthening the original vision.
The forward momentum, despite those huge hitches, is really admirable.
It is. And the plan, as stated in the notes, is to recast the actors and try again, which emphasizes the team's perseverance, their unwavering commitment to telling this story.
So the creators face their own fragments, these unexpected challenges, losses.
And had to demonstrate remarkable resilience to piece their project back together, much like Cassandra navigating her devastated world. It really underscores the passion, the sheer commitment that goes into indie filmmaking.
It really does.
And speaking of creative work born from deep feeling, this deep dive is also brought to you by No One Can Hear the War, available at www.lulu.com. Swap Fight like Jason Wright writes.
Right. This is a raw, really emotionally charged poetry collection. It's for anyone who's ever smiled through pain, maybe overthought a simple text message, or just felt invisible in a crowded room.
It's written in that format, in English, we say, but in poetry, we say, and the poems dig into things like anxiety, grief, trauma, and that quiet resilience it takes just to keep going sometimes.
This book, it won't promise you everything will suddenly be okay.
No. But it will remind you that you're not the only one who feels this way. And sometimes, honestly, that's enough. Just knowing you're not alone in it.
It's worth noting, too, the author Jason Wright. He's a filmmaker, a writer, and actually co-owner of Playtime Studio.
Which collaborated on Alone Fragments of a Lost World.
Exactly. So his background really ties into these themes of storytelling, emotional depth that we've been discussing.
Yeah.
His writing pulls from real-life grit, real emotional depth.
Creates a very honest, immersive, grounded tone. It's a compelling connection to the very nature of the kind of stories that really resonate with us.
Definitely check that out.
Yeah.
So back to Alone. This deep dive, it's really resonated with me personally. Thinking about Cassandra's journey, and even the journey of the filmmakers, it makes you reflect on those times when your own world feels a bit lost. Maybe not a literal apocalypse, thankfully.
Fully not.
But through significant personal shifts
Mm.
or moments of profound loneliness, or even just when familiar structures suddenly disappear.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think about times in my own life where I've had to completely pivot, you know, where the landscape of my existence felt fundamentally altered and the old maps just didn't work anymore.
And what do you do then?
It's in those moments that this quiet, deep well of resilience has to kind of emerge from within you. This silent strength that lets you navigate those personal fragments and start piecing together a new sense of normalcy or meaning.
It's a universal human experience, isn't it? Maybe less dramatic than a collapsed civilization on the surface, but just as real in its impact on the individual.
Mm.
It's true. The idea of a lost world isn't just confined to these grand apocalyptic events. And it raises that important question for all of us. How do we, in our own lives, gather our fragments when everything around us shifts?
And what new story do we choose to tell ourselves about those shifts?
Exactly. It makes you consider how memory itself can be such a powerful tool for survival. Not just something that haunts us, but something that actually guides us.
Like Cassandra holding on to those flashes of her family,
Yeah.
even while facing immense danger.
Yeah, it underscores how those internal anchors are crucial for navigating external chaos. And just like she eventually finds those glimmers of connection with Tara and Joseph,
Even small ones.
even small ones, it highlights how reaching out or finding that shared human experience of loss can provide immense hope when you feel utterly alone.
It's about building a new world from the debris of the old one, both externally and internally.
And understanding that resilience often comes from within, but it's illuminated by the fragments of our past and the hope for future connections.
So as we wrap up here, what stood out most to you in Alone Fragments of a Lost World? What insights are you taking away?
For me, I think it's the profound emotional impact it achieves with such a minimalist approach. It really sets a high bar for impactful short-form storytelling.
Proving you don't need tons of dialogue or massive budgets to convey deep feeling, a truly compelling narrative.
Exactly. Its unique cinematic potential lies in how much it makes you feel without telling you everything explicitly. It leaves so much space for your own reflections.
It's a masterclass in implication and atmosphere.
What about you? Your final take?
I think for me is that it serves as such a powerful, deeply resonant exploration of human resilience and the complexities of memory when faced with just insurmountable loss.
And what it fundamentally means to be truly alone, yet still striving for connection, for purpose.
Yeah, it extends this compelling invitation to think critically, doesn't it?
Mhm.
To understand both literal survival and metaphorical grief as these profoundly intertwined experiences.
The film's brilliance lies in its ability to let you project your own experiences into its quiet spaces.
So maybe a final provocative thought for you listening. As you consider Cassandra's journey, reflect on the fragments you might be holding on to from your own lost worlds.
And what new stories are you piecing together with them? Or maybe think about this. If your world collapsed, what sounds would you hold on to? And what silence would truly define that loss for you?
Deep thoughts to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. It's always incredibly valuable to explore such rich sources and their profound implications together.